True true peace. Happy Holy Day, peacemakers. Welcome. It's branch temple number 24 of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We are a global branch temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and we're teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed that they may learn to love instead of hate. You can come link yourself with the family of nations by joining us here on Telegram. All you gotta do is search out World Temple, or you should be able to find the link to our group chat here on Telegram from YouTube soon enough. Here we'll be posting that on YouTube as well, so you guys can access it. We got a lot of catching up to do for as our gatherings, our Koopas. We ended off on 74, so we're trying to make sure we get caught up on YouTube. So first thing first, we're gonna kick off this week with our divine supplication. Get us open up. Hope everyone's enjoying their Friday, their holy day. True peace. So I'm gonna open us up here with our divine supplication. As y'all know, we begin our prayers and thinking by using the all. O Heavenly One, the Most High, who is sustainer of all the worlds, we do accept the duty you have laid on us to clean up the filth made by the West and its non-Semitic fools. O my sustainer, we beseech you to keep your hand over us to control the strings of the courses of our lives. Our sustainer, and if we do wrong, please show our divine blessings and forgiveness on us. You are the only one that can raise us true followers of the news bearers, and in thy name we carry on. All right, so first thing first, I want to give honors to the creator, the divine creator. I want to give honors to the prophet Noble Drew Ali. I want to give honors to all those that'll be here in participation this evening. You could be anywhere in the world, but you will be here with me for those that do stop by and participate. I want to give honors to all those that came after the prophet. I want to give honors to all things Moorish, all things indigenous. And with that, let's get started for this week. Next, we're going to jump into our daily affirmations that we ought to read here every week as a family, and preferably every day with your family. Go over these 19 affirmations on a day-to-day, if time is permittable. So we're going to jump right into our 19 affirmations, what we call the daily affirmation of loyalty of the children of the Elohim, and what we accept as fact. We accept as fact the eternal laws of nature as revealed through science, past events, logic, and common sense, revealed as right knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. We accept as fact the highest laws of nature is the cooperation and harmony of all living things. We accept as fact our way of life as a means to the best end. We accept as fact that loyalty is the greatest of all honors and treason is the worst of all crimes. We accept as fact that what is good for the Holy Tabernacle is the highest virtue, and what is bad for the Holy Tabernacle is the ultimate evil. We accept as fact that the Holy Tabernacle is the finest and noblest organization for all humanity, created by circumstances, and the ancient and mystic order of Melchizedek is the noblest of fraternities on and above this planet. We accept this fact that creativity, love, and cooperation are the essence of success. We accept this fact that we accept this fact that truth and facts are always and has always been the originator and creator of all success. We accept this fact that all worthwhile cultures and civilizations came about from the ancient Sumerians and Kamite Egyptians, and the Anunnaki or Elohims from the heavens, without which there would be none. We accept this fact that for the Holy Tabernacle to survive, expand, and advance, we need first of all a revolution of values and thoughts, which must start within each person by being truthful with themselves and about themselves. Therefore, we completely and categorically reject all myths, fictions, religions, and lies that have not been proven. That would include your heavens, your hell, your hellfire and brimstones, your horny pitchfork devils, your winged angels, and your old man God character sitting on a throne up there somewhere. We deal strictly with facts. If you can't prove it, we don't want to hear it. That doesn't mean we won't listen to you. Just don't expect us to accept your beliefs by virtue of a title, such as Reverend, Pastor, Deacon, Imam, Sheik, Rabbi, Minister, Theologian, etc. That is your sensationalism, and we deal with just the facts. We accept this fact that the only true revolution is a war of good against evil, right against wrong, fairness against unfairness, loyalty against disloyalty, sincerity against insincerity, honesty against dishonesty, and this war fought within each person among the agreeable and disagreeable Elohims that make up your willpower. We accept this fact that the unity of our community and its success will only happen with cooperation. We're all involved. We accept this fact, the total unification of all humanity on the basis of truth. That is, accepting people and races for who and what they are, respecting their culture, their languages, and their beliefs, and expect the same. We accept this fact that the human race's biological and cultural heritage is now under attack by our own morals, our self-righteousness, our desire to control industry, and these things attack the very existence of humanity. We accept this fact that males as well as females are equal in all things and should be dealt with as partners in all matters. We accept this fact that no one race of people is better than the other. In fact, no one wins the race in racism. We accept this fact that communication between different people is the cure to the ignorance that breeds the disease hate. We accept this fact that a good and well-rounded education could prevent most of the ignorance that plagues the world. We accept this fact that the all is just that, the all. You can't take from the all, you can't add to the all. We are all within the all as one. That is our concept of what you call a deity. To the fulfillment of these facts, we children of the Elohim forever pledge our lives, our sacred honor, and our spiritual zeal. True peace, true peace. Happy holy day. Happy holy day.
Happy holiday.
True peace, brother Jonathan. I see you. All right, just letting everybody know we are live. Hope you all are enjoying your holiday. Next, we're going to jump right into our Moorish prayer and our divine constitution and bylaws and open up with our weekly reading of El's Holy Qur'an. This week and get things going. Excuse me, Circle 7, Holy Quran Circle 7. We will be reading El's Holy Quran this week as well. I just haven't got our footing on where we finished off at last. Gotta get that done this week. So we're gonna jump right into the divine constitution and bylaws and prayer. So as y'all know how this go, all stand, 2 fingers up, 5 fingers up, facing the east, feet at a 45-degree angle. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Amen. All right, so we're going to jump right into the divine constitution and bylaws as they read. Act 1. The Grand Sheik and the chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man was departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, true peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No members to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion, at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we're teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, color folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplifting of humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his father, God Allah. All right, y'all. So we're going to jump right into our weekly reading from the Circle 7 Holy Qur'an, starting off with chapter 25, as we do here every week. Chapter 25 is the precursor to our actions, intents, and behaviors for all Moorish people globally. Not just here. This is a think piece that could be understood globally. So, chapter 25, called the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation, as it reads, "Ye are the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother had given you suck. Let the bonds of affection, therefore, unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separated in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brothers in adversity, assist him. If thy sisters in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all, and your love to each other." So just a quick takeaway: just love one another. That's it. Just simple and plain. Learn to love one another. It could be cliche as it sounds, generic as it sounds. It is what it is. It is what it is. So we're gonna jump right to chapter 47 and 48. And we're gonna read from there. Chapter 47 is called Egypt, the Capital Empire of the Dominion of Africa. And as it reads, "The inhabitants of Africa are the descendants of the ancient Canaanite nation from the land of Canaan. Old man Cush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. His father Ham and his family were second. Then came the word Ethiopia, which means the demarcation line of the dominion of Amexem, the first true and divine name of Africa, the dividing of the land between the father and the son. The dominion of Cush, northeast and southeast Africa, and northwest and southwest was his father's dominion of Africa. In later years, many of their brethren from Asia and the Holy Lands joined them. The Moabites from the land of Moab, who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle and inhabit northwest Africa, they were the founders and are the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire, with their Canaanite, Hittite, and Amorite brethren who sovereign from the land of Canaan, seeking new homes. Their dominion and inhabitation extended from northeast and southwest Africa, across the Great Atlantis, even unto the present North, South, and Central America, and also Mexico and the Atlantis Islands, before the great earthquake which caused the Great Atlantic Ocean. The river Nile was dredged and made by the ancient pharaohs of Egypt in order to trade with the surrounding kingdoms. Also, the Niger River was dredged by the great pharaoh of Egypt in those ancient days, for trade, and it extends eastward from the river Nile westward across the Great Atlantic. It was used for trade and transportation. According to all true and divine records of the human race, there is no Negro, black, or colored race attached to the human family, because all the inhabitants of Africa were and are of the human race, descending to the ancient Canaanite nation from the Holy Land of Canaan, which your ancient forefathers were, you are today without doubt or contradiction. There's no one who is able to change man from the descendant nature of his forefathers, unless his power extends beyond the great universal creator Allah himself. These holy and divine laws are from the prophet Noble Drew Ali, the founder of the uniting of the Moorish Science Temple of America. These laws are to be strictly preserved by the members of all the temples of the Moorish Science Temple of America, that they will learn to open their meeting and guide it according to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Every subordinate temple of the Grand Major Temple is to form under the covenant of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and to create their own laws and customs in conjunction with the laws of the Holy Prophet and the Grand Temple. I, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, was sent by the great God Allah to warn all Asiatics of America to repent from their sinful ways before that great and awful day that is sure to come. The time is coming and every nation must worship under its own vine and fig tree, and every tongue must confess its own. Through sin and disobedience, every nation has suffered slavery due to the fact that they honor not the creed and principle of their forefathers. That is why the nationality of the Moors was taken away from them in 1774, and the word Negro, black, and colored was given to the Asiatics of America, who were of Moorish descent, because they honored not the principles of their mother and father and strayed after the gods of Europe, of whom they knew nothing. So, just another quick takeaway here: acknowledging who you are and what you are and your roots, going back to your roots per se. There is a lot of plotting going into play when it comes to history and certain views of history. A lot of twists on history, a lot of self-opinionated views about history that are really taken out of the context of the social mindset of people during certain times of history, and placing more of the modern opinion on the the past, and a lot of that is really coloring the lines of how how history played out during those times. So when it comes to think pieces such as this, such as the science and the knowledge and wisdom from the Holy Quran, Circle 7, and that which was put into effect by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, this helps us to not just only remember and ponder on the things of the past, but remember what we went through as a people in our history, because it's not only just documented by us, it's also documented in this country that there was a slave era, and the mindsets of those slaves and the people that was kidnapped and put into bondage. You have the history documented by those people themselves. So these are the best things to kind of go off of versus getting caught up in just the new age opinions that kind of change left and right to fit whatever new guru is the guru at the time opinion. So with that, we're going to jump into chapter 48, called The End of Time and the Fulfilling of the Prophecies. And as it reads, the last prophet in these days is Noble Drew Ali, who was prepared divinely in due time by Allah to redeem man from their sinful ways and to warn them of the great wrath which is sure to come upon the earth. John the Baptist was the forerunner of Jesus in those days to warn and stir up the nation and prepare them to receive the divine creed which is to be taught by Jesus. In these modern days, there came a forerunner of Jesus who was divinely prepared by the great God Allah, and his name is Marcus Garvey, who did teach and warn the nations of the earth to prepare to meet the coming prophet, who was to bring the true and divine creed of Islam. And his name is Noble Drew Ali, who was prepared and sent to this earth by Allah to teach the old time religion and the everlasting gospel to the sons of man, that every nation shall and must worship under their own vine and fig tree and return to their own and be one with their Father God Allah. The Moorish Science Temple of America is a lawfully chartered and incorporated organization. Any subordinate temple that desires to receive a charter, the Prophet has them to issue to every state throughout the United States, etc., that the world may hear and know the truth, that among the descendants of Africa there is still much wisdom to be learned in these days for the redemption of the sons of man under love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. We as a clean and pure nation descended from the inhabitants of Africa, do not desire to amalgamate or marry into the families of the pale skinned nations of Europe, neither serve the gods of their religion, because our forefathers are the true and divine founders of the first religious creed for the redemption and salvation of mankind on earth. Therefore, we are returning the church and Christianity back to the European nations as it was prepared by their forefathers for their earthly salvation, while we, the Moorish Americans, are returning to Islam, which was founded by our forefathers for our earthly and divine salvation. The covenant of the great God Allah: honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the earth land, which the Lord thy God Allah had given thee. Come, all ye Asiatics of America, and hear the truth about your nationality and birthrights, because you're not Negroes. Learn of your forefathers' ancient and divine creed that you will learn to love instead of hate. We're trying to uplift all of humanity. Come and link yourself with the family of nations. We honor all true and divine prophets. All right, y'all. Islam, Islam, Islam. Shalom, shalom, shalom. True peace. So we're going to jump right into this week's thought piece. Last week, we kind of had a real short kupa, real short sermon. But we're going to dive into this banking series and close it out.
Peace. Pardon the body.
True peace, Nova. Go ahead.
Recently I was working at the hospital, and they have different idols and different symbols up, representing some of the Christian-based faith, and just being aware of that, I think people in this world have been led astray because they're expecting something outside of themselves to be a solution, and individuals are only able to do so much, and when it comes down to the organization of things, it takes, where two or more come together is where that organization is able to have not just fluidity but power behind it, and with great power comes great responsibility, and so having the prophet Noble Drew Ali as a staple allows for ego or any form of misperceptions or judgments to kind of be put to the wayside, and it gives that foundation for people to build upon, and that's kind of I think really important moving forward, so people don't think that taking down or changing the changing of times is gonna be a negative. Sometimes you in the over the last 5-10 years you see people destroying statues and art pieces, and it's one thing to have an appreciation for art pieces. It's another thing for a seance to be going on as almost like witchcraft, but not calling it witchcraft. And there's all these confusions about what's right and wrong, and it's like hypocritical stuff, pointing fingers like you shouldn't be doing that because that's witchcraft. But it's like, what are you doing? That's idol worship, which is the same thing. But it's just so there's like a lot of miscomprehension. So I'm grateful to be somewhere where I know that things can be cleared up, and find a balance and a path forward. True peace.
True peace, true peace. Thank you for that contribution. Oh, it definitely is a place of clarity, a place of certainty that that you're not tripping, that you get 4 on your hand versus someone else. They trying to figure out what 2 + 2 = 4 is every other week, and it's some different answer from just every different type of group that you have. They don't all come out to the same answer, and that's essentially okay. People are allowed to think for themselves. People are allowed to their own opinion about things, but most definitely when it comes to clarity and like that certainty, is definitely a beautiful thing to have a place to go to really grasp that and share that. So I definitely appreciate the contribution. We're gonna kick off this week, this week's Qur'an, this week's sermon with the continuation of our banking series, of our currency series that we've been having. And like I said last week, I didn't really push too hard on the teaching, but just gave a roundabout of where we were at, because we did shift platforms. So right now we're on Telegram, and we're going live from here on Telegram. So make sure you share that link. Let everyone know that we are here on Telegram, and we will be here every week. And I will be getting those videos up on YouTube of our recordings here real soon. So this is actually our 89th gathering. This is our 89th gathering that we have done as a temple body. And we are continuing to keep on with the keep on. And hopefully we get some good news over this weekend. And I'll be discussing what that news will be about during the current events. But nevertheless, we're going to jump right into it. So we went into the information of ancient authority last 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 time we was able to have a full holy day. But I'll still will kind of go over those reference points from the reference material that we're going to be going into. I put the reference material link in the chat so you all could check that out as well. And for those that'll be listening from YouTube, you all could check out the history of banking and the history of money. We started from there. And once we get the sermons up on YouTube, you all will be able to get the information from those previous recordings. But nevertheless, we're gonna jump right in. So the reference information that we have right here in front of us states that the shift from the reliance on hunting and gathering of foods to agricultural practices, starting sometime after 12,000 BCE, resulted in increased stability of economic relations. Such changes in social economic conditions began approximately 10,000 years ago in the Fertile Crescent, about 9,500 years ago in northern China, and about 5,500 years ago in Mexico, and approximately 4,500 years ago in the eastern parts of the United States. So this is saying the shift from everybody just hunting and gathering on their own to coming up with these agricultural practices, which leads into different forms of economics and creating stable economies. So this next section is called monetary, and it states ancient types of money known as grain money and food cattle money were used from around 9,000 BCE as two of the earliest commodities used for purposes of bartering. So we should know what bartering is. Bartering in trade is derived from the word barter, which is a system of exchange in which participants in a transaction directly exchange goods or services for other goods or services without using a medium of exchange, such as money. It says that economists usually distinguish bartering from gift economies in many ways. So there's many different ways to distinguish bartering from a gifting economy. And many market actors use barter as a replacement method for money during times of monetary crisis, when a currency becomes unstable. All right, so just a quick rundown on what bartering is, if you're not familiar with that. So continuing, it states the Anatolian obsidian as a raw material for stone age tools was being distributed from as early as about 12,500 BCE, and organized trading of it was occurring during the 9th millennium BCE. Sardinia was one of the four main sites for sourcing the material deposits of obsidian within the Mediterranean. Trade using obsidian was replaced during the 3rd millennial BCE by trade of copper and silver. So this is just going through the histories of how the metals were used to create tools and invent things, especially for agricultural purposes during that time, going back in the past. So this next section is called record keeping, and we're gonna find some real interesting things right here. It states objects used for record keeping, bula, and tokens have been recovered from within Near East excavations, dated to a period beginning 8000 BCE and ending in 1500 BCE as records of the counting of agricultural produce. Commencing in the late 4th millennia, mnemonic symbols were in use by members of temples and palaces to record stocks of produce. Types of records accounting for trade exchanges of payments were first being made about 3200 BCE. The Code of Hammurabi, written on a clay tablet around 1700 BCE, described the regulation of banking activity within the civilization. Although still rudimentary, banking was well enough developed to justify laws governing banking operation. Later, during the Achaemenid Empire, further evidence is found of banking practices in the Mesopotamia region. So this is saying that record keeping and accounting goes back to the original accountants, who are your Sumerians, your ancient Sumerian people, who are influenced by who? The Anunnaki, those ancient deity people. Who are the Anunnaki? These are your melanated Moorish indigenous gods, people. Some like to call them or refer to them as the ancient astronauts, space travelers, however you want to look at it, advanced civilizations. So this next section is called structural. It says by the 5th millennium BCE, the settlements of Sumer, such as Eridu, were formed around a central temple. In the 5th millennium, people began to build and live in the civilization of cities, providing a structure for the construction of institutions and establishment. Tel Barak and Uruk were two early urban settlements. So in Uruk, you had civilizations being established. So of course they had banking principles. Of course, these indigenous Moorish people of Samaria are your first pioneers. These are your progenitors of the industry. So now, thousands of years later, and we look into what they call the father of modern day science, or this list of contributors of people, people who contributed to economics, and you see no indigenous people there, none whatsoever. This is why we have an issue with the system that we see today. There's no contribution from indigenous people whatsoever. There's not a person that's listed on the names, nothing. They don't even acknowledge. They just say the Sumerians. They don't list which specific Sumerians, which specific Egyptians, which specific group of Egyptians at that. But we know it was done in ancient Sumer, which we know the ancient Sumerians were Moorish people and who they were. All right, so now we're going to jump into what's called the earliest forms of banking, and is moving into this Persia, Mesopotamia section. It states banking as an archaic activity or quasi-banking is thought to have begun as early as the latter part of the 4th millennia BCE to the 3rd millennia BCE, which we like to refer to as before Christ era. It says, among many other things, the Code of Hammurabi recorded interest-bearing loans. Interest-bearing loans. Therefore, banking, which technically has nothing to do with lending, has been going on. People have been using storehouses in the temples, as you can see, in the palaces, as you can see, were the original banks, storehouses. So, especially those people that's caught up in the patriot movement and all those things, if they understood the ecclesiastical side to a lot of the things that they talk about, they would understand the true principle behind those maxims that a lot of them kind of gravitate towards. Some of them don't even get a chance to gravitate towards understanding the maximums of law. But there's so many maxims that go into ecclesiastical law, and this is why I've been blowing the horn on the fact that if you want to really have solid standing, you want to put yourself under the jurisdiction of indigenous ecclesiastical law, not just indigenous laws and indigenous rights and things like that, but the laws of indigenous people. And you need to know how to be able to take claim to those indigenous laws. And you have the oldest laws on the planet being referred to as the law of this country here in America, and pretty much the law all across the world, in different parts of the world. And the principles that are outside of the biblical text, whether it's dealing with something tribal, most of these laws are still actually incorporated with those biblical texts. This is actually where they get them from. The Bible is made up of these little books that came from other cultures. For example, like and Chaldea. Before, people referred to Prophet Abraham as a Hebrew, which is actually something that he did. He was a traveler. He crossed over, which means he traveled from one side of the river to the next, making him a Hebrew or Ibra or Ibri. He traveled, he crossed over. He actually was, by nationality, he was a Chaldean. He was from Chaldea. So understanding that these sacred texts actually connect back to these sacred principles that come from these indigenous tribes, these indigenous peoples, and their way of life. So when you stand on those tribal laws and you understand the difference between private and public, and while we stand on the knowledge and information that we do here in the Moorish Science Temple of America, that we're supposed to stand on, having inference, deep intel on the knowledge that we're conveying, especially when we're talking about changing your political status, about who you are as a people, accepting that you have honor, accepting the fact that you come from honor, accepting the fact that you are supposed to be an honorable person and an honorable people. And that honor is within what they call the temple. This is that divine law. Every culture, tribe, whatever you get into, all of them have a spiritual center, a temple. This is where the spirit relies. You are the temple. All them temple moors be tripping. They be tripping. No, we giving you the facts. You're trying to figure out how to break spiritual laws. That got nothing to do with us. That has nothing to do with us. So, nevertheless, continue on. It states, prior to the region of Sargon I of Akkad, going back to 2335 BCE to 2280 BCE, the occurrence of trade was limited to the internal boundaries of each city-state of Babylon, and the temple located at the center of economic activity therein. Trade at the time for citizens external to the city was forbidden. In Babylonia of 2000 BCE, people depositing gold were required to pay amounts as much as 1/60th of the total deposited. Both the places and the temple are known to have provided lending and issuing from the wealth they held, the palaces to a lesser extent. Such loans typically involve issuing seed grain with repayment from the harvest. These basic social agreements were documented in clay tablets with an agreement on interest accrual. The habit of depositing and storing of wealth in temples continued at least until 209 BCE, as evidenced by Antiochus III having ransacked or pillaged the temple of Ain in Ecbatana or Media of gold and silver. More information commissioned comes from the code commissioned by Hammurabi, king of Babylon, 1792 to 1750 BCE. Law 100 stipulated that repayment of a loan by a debtor to a creditor was to be on a schedule with a maturity date, specified in writing contractual terms. Law 122 stipulated that a depositor of gold, silver, or other property must present all articles and a signed contract of bailment to a notary before depositing the articles with a banker. And law 123 stipulated that a banker was discharged of any liability from a contract of bailment if the notary denied the existence of the contract. Law 124 stipulated that a depositor with a notarized contract of bailment was entitled to redeem the entirety of their deposit. And Law 125 stipulated that a banker was liable for replacement of deposits stolen while in their possession. So there was some banking going on. There was some banking regulation going on during these ancient times. If we know, if we know that this is there, how are we not able to acknowledge our history as indigenous people and what our calling is to do, not just through our people, but through the work of our temples? Our temples are pretty much like banks, but we get mad when the preacher nowadays he running around here looking like Tom Bank Hank, Big Tom Hank Bank. He big banking because they somewhat doing what they're supposed to be doing. Now I don't know the inner details of how well some of these flashy preachers be managing they church management. I'm not gonna speak on that, but if it look like money, smell like money, it got to be some money going on. So therefore, some part of the principle of understanding that the temple itself operates as a bank, which is what we were working towards with the World Credit Union, and we still have that, and we have other things within that as well that is also connected. But us understanding that structure and that information and standing on it and moving towards those type of things, there are things that we're supposed to be doing as a temple, as a community, as a congregation, creating our economy. If we're going to move into creating townships, we have to move as a unit. That's why I constantly say I don't mind it being 2 or 3 people here and it being real slow, because not everyone is going to get that. We're not just here to sit around with people and do the fake praise. Oh, oh my Lord, and play spiritual. That's not what we're here to do. We got real work to do. We got real work to do. If we can't provide jobs to our community, to the men in our community, have things for them to do, then what are we doing? I mean, it's good to gather. It's good to, gather amongst your brothers and sisters. Psalms 133. That's totally right. But we got a mission at hand. We got a mission at hand. A lot of the reason why those churches are able to give away thousands of dollars, because they taking it from their community. They're taking it from their community. Now, some churches don't necessarily give back. They don't provide jobs for their community. Some may provide jobs but don't do charity for their community. Now, I know in the early days we definitely did a lot of charity. We definitely did a lot of volunteer work. I would always be somewhere volunteering, doing charity work, helping, just helping out, period. Just me, being a resource to the people. And then that shifted me pulling back and putting my time into to developing and making sure we have a marketable product and a marketable image for ourselves, and where we're going to take this thing as a temple body. But understanding these principles of what we're talking about now, this is something that has to be locked down. This is why I say this information, you're not really going to get it. You're not really going to get it like this in a fundamental capacity too much anywhere else, especially all the stuff, like I say, they flood on you in the patriot movement and all these things. I still have people that try to approach me with a lot of that stuff. I hear it, but I'm not getting into it because I see now and I know better now, especially the inner teachings and the inner workings of what needs to be done and what we're working toward. So at least we're able to offer some type of job right now. We have commission work that you can do outside of the day-to-day temple service thing and temple meetings. There's work within that. It's work within that. It's work being a member of the Royal Council, but helping build up the brand of the temple, the community itself. And we start to really set a precedence around that and really, really play for the same team here. It definitely not just changes the people's lives around us, but the next generation that we're setting the example for on how to do this, especially with us moving into this content creation space, and what we're doing, in regards to that, and how we can come together, create content as a community of people in the same congregation and support one another. So with that, we're gonna keep on with the keep on here. So continuing on, it states cuneiform records of the house of Agabi of Babylonia describes the family's financial activities as having occurred sometime after 1000 BCE and ending sometime during the reign of Darius I. These records suggest a lending house, a family engaging in professional banking, an economic activity similar to modern deposit banking. Another interpretation is that the family's activities are better described as entrepreneurship rather than banking. The Moorish family apparently took part in providing credit. So you had documented families, documented houses, like we have the house of Shemuel. We have the house of Shemuel. It says the house of Agabi was a family from within ancient Babylonia who were, amongst other things, involved in mercantile activities. The family's financial activities are known to archaeologists via an archive of about 1,700 clay tablets spanning 5 generations of the family, dating to a period from around 600 to 482 BCE. The tablet gives us a glimpse of the exchange of goods within southern Mesopotamia and abroad. Many documents found in the archive show shipments of barley, dates, and other bulk items. Enterprises of this nature were financed by the house of Agabi, among other later houses from within Babylon. It states the word Agabi is a transliteration of the Sumerian Gabatila, a full form used occasionally in archival records. In a text on ancestral names, Babylon scribes equated it to Sin Takisha Liblu, which is translated as, O Sin, the moon god, you have given the child, may he now live and thrive. The family's name occurred in Babylon records at a time beginning sometime during the 8th century BCE. By the 6th century BCE, more than 200 individuals are known to history who claim to be descendants of Agabi. The founder of the house was thought in earlier scholarship to be an individual known called Jacob, therefore of Jewish origin, thought at one time being active at the earliest during the late 7th century. F.L. Pacer thought the family had nothing to do with Jacob, and and under later reconsideration, the issue with regards to Jacob is thought inconclusively proven by Wallace Budge. The family are thought instead active during the 9th century BCE and being proved instead Sumerio-Babylonian origin, not Jewish. So it states the head of the house during 528 BCE was Iti Marduk Balatu, active in Opus during that time of Darius I began his reign during 520 BCE. The inheritance of the house was divided among sons of the family during 508. Iti Marduk Balatu, son to Nabu, Ahidin passed his inheritance to 3 sons. The eldest Marduk Nasir Apli received half, Nergel Usibib and Nab Ahai Balit, the remainder divided between them. Marduk Nasir Apli was presumably the head during the period 521 through 521 to 487 BCE. In the chronology of Moore and Lewis, the house Agabi is contemporary with Uranu. So the house, it was a business house of Neo-Babylonia, and Archimenid, Achaemenid Babylonia, the earliest known to archaeology, were involved in selling, buying, and exchanging houses, fields, slaves, and banking operations as creditors, accepted deposits for safekeeping, financial international trade, and founding commercial companies. All monies the members of the family used for these purposes were from the house's owns money rather than the members of the family, instead using money which they had from deposits made by others. They accepted deposits, provided loans, paid off clients' debt, and enabled the acquisition of goods for future payment by providing credit. The family was very successful in its trade of agricultural products, which enabled it to acquire large tracts of land, and some of its members became leading officials in Babylon. The family were involved in land management sometime between 518 and 501 for the treasurer to the king. A notable ruler who helped the house of Agabi become more powerful was Nebuchadnezzar II from 605 BCE to 562 BCE. Nebuchadnezzar formed his military by giving people land, allowing people to possibly free up time to not farm. Therefore, a need for farming the land was brought up. This is where the house of Agabi came in. They were a form of property management during the reign of Nebuchadnezzar in the Neo-Babylonian period. This let the man who owned land go and fight in the military of Nebuchadnezzar's purposes. Some of some of members some of the members also were employed by Persian royalty. For instance, Nebu Aki Eden as judges. It says the archive are tablets documenting 5 generations of the family's life, written by its members beginning in 602 BCE and ending in 486 BCE. The earlier generations of Igabis derived their wealth from agricultural activity rather than participation in temple-based employment. The Nursin 577 through 480 BCE are documented in the Agabi archive. The archive was discovered sometime during the 19th through early 20th century. The very large number of archaeological artifacts, the largest extent sourced from Neo-Babylonia, pertain to the firm at a time beginning during the time of Ashur, Ahu, Edenia, Edenia, 680 through 669 BCE. During the time of Theophilus G. Pinchas, the known tablet related to the period 605 through 517 BCE. It states that J.N. Strassenmeyer and A. Ungnad made separate copies of various texts, including some of the Igabi archives. Pinchas at some time translated at least a portion of those tablets, the Igabi tablets. So this is the whole rundown on a whole royal family, wealthy family, who you would call like a Rothschild type family during this time. So we had major contributions as a people. We were not unintelligent. Practically, it makes the statement, "There's nothing new under the sun," more solidified because it's nothing new that they were doing during that time. They had a family office. They had family management going on. They had family businesses. They had a family trust that passed down from one generation to the next. And they did it through agriculture, which references what we read in the book of Genesis about tilling the land, a man working the land. So let's look into a little bit on the Morashu family. The house of Morashu were a family discovered in archaeological findings dating to the late 19th century. The family were alive during the 5th century BC in Nepal, particularly participating in early economic activities. Both Marasu and Marashu mean wildcat. The words are transliterated as Murasu'u, as originally written in Cyrillic cuneiform script. The house is named after the head of the family. So that's the family name. Now we're going into the evidence of archaeology. It states a large portion of archaeological evidence on the family is from a house in Nepal found within the remains of a 20 by 10-foot room of the building. It was initially found during 1893 within the third expedition of the University of Pennsylvania at the site. At the time directed by John Henry Haynes, known as the Marshall Archive. These consist of clay tablets, 879 in total, and this is during the 2005 Provon, Longman. These are the scholars is mentioning that were involved. Written in languages Aramaic and Akkadian. The archives include 657 different seal types. The Moorish tablets. So these are called the Moorish tablets. The Moorish tablets provide a glimpse into what life was like for 5th century Jewish descendants of the Babylonian exile and captivity. After the Persian king Cyrus the Great captured Babylon in 539 BCE, he allowed and helped finance the return of Jews to Judea with the Edict of Cyrus in 538. The Moorish tablets are dated to this period after Jews were allowed to return to Judea. The fact that the banking house Moorish and Sons conducted business with Jews who decided to remain in the poor rather than return to Judea suggests that life in Persia controlled in the poor was at least somewhat tolerable for Jews. The tablets discuss one such Jew, Udarna, son of Rahim Ili. Some of Udarna's property was stolen by his brother and nephew. To see that he might reacquire his property, Udarna brought his complaint to Bel Nadin Shumu, one of the sons of Murashu and Sons. Udarna did have his property returned. In addition, no charges were brought against his brother or nephew. They also agreed that no offspring of Udarna would ever bring charges against Udarna's brother or nephew or their offspring. This act of forbidding any suit being brought against Udarna's brother and nephew or the generations after was seemingly implemented to prevent a blood feud that might last generations. Notably, the Hebrew names contained within the tablets, which begin with Yad He Wah, are all written Yahu and never Yehu. This evidence from the Murashu documents does correspond to that from other sources. After the exile, the ordinary form of the divine name used as an initial Theophorus element was Yahu, where we get the term Yahuwah. So this next section is called banking, and it states H.V. Hilprecht considers the group or firm to be bankers and brokers who were engaged in money lending and trading operations in southern and central Babylonia for a period of 50 years from the end of the 5th century. 3 generations of the family are attested to in the Nippur documents. The archives, legal documentation, includes matters concerning the less wealthy of Nippur living in the outer areas of the city, although also the interests of both royalty, the renting of fields, and those associated with these participating as officials within their estate. The artifacts are dated to the time of the reign of the kings Artaxerxes the first and Darius the second. The core activity of the family was fief and estate land management, with members primarily active as creditors for workers of agricultural enterprises in the lending and provision of equipment, seed, tools, irrigation, and animals for the purpose to individuals, including Jews. These relevant as to the book of Ezekiel. The archive gives information on interaction and agreement and the like with 100 Jewish families. The family employed more than 60 agents. The house leased plots of land owned by civil servants, which were 23 high court officials and warriors who controlled bow lands, horse lands, and chariot lands, transferring rental payments and also subsequent taxes to the royal family. The government used the family for the purpose of the collection of tax on land, which this is land that the family farmed out for taxes. The family had dealings with 2,500 separate individuals, at least evidenced by the archived document when Shwene Dewin states this includes in total an onomasticon of 2,500 names. The family had no role in foreign exchange or international trade, although some members did travel to Susa in Elam, which is about 200 kilometers in distance from where they was at, where they remained for months involved in financial business. So there was some families. There was more than one family. And like I say, it solidifies the fact that there's nothing new under the sun. And from there, it moves on into Asia Minor, India, China, and we're gonna even get into Greece, ancient Egypt. We got some more to go for this banking portion. We definitely got a lot to get into for the banking portion. So we're gonna be really waking it up. But this is the other half of this series, and we're gonna make sure that we do cover a lot during this series. But I know that raised some eyebrows, or that will raise some eyebrows when people hear, the information that we're reading and the information that we're going into. Because as I stated, when it comes to financing and economics, this is something that we as a people should definitely be participating in and having these conversations about, especially with what we just read. Especially with what we just read. This this is not a typical conversation that I hear all the time. And so we're gonna bring it to the forefront. Therefore, it can be spoken about and brought up. Hey, did you know that there was did you know there was a royal family and royal families and the ancient Sumerians? The master teacher talked about the Anunnaki and the Sumerians and this is that and the third. But did you know that when he stated that we really had these economies and these civilizations, that there were actually people there documented? You have the records and tablets, and they really tell a story. They really say things. So when we come and look at things in the future now, and we see, well, hey, where's the participation of the indigenous people, the Moorish people in all these matters, when this is us? We are those descendants of those royal families, those royal people. And that's just one location. This goes all over the world. This goes all over the world. When we get into the history and the stories about Enki and transporting gold all over the planet. Then again with Mansa and him and his brother Abu Bakr, sending gold and gold, just gold everywhere. So we gonna get into this information, and like I say, we're gonna close out the series on this banking side of it, this banking half. There's a lot of things that we gonna go over on the banking side, and just give more detail into what we've been saying from the economic portion of it and the currency portion of it, because we are the progenitors of civilizations. We're not the civilized, we are the civilizers. We're the Abania, we're the builders. We're the Alabate, we're the house, we're the royal house of God. We are the temple. And so we're gonna definitely keep getting into the details. So I want to save the rest of this that's coming up for next week. We're gonna continue off here, getting into Greece, ancient Egypt, China, India, Asia Minor, and and get into their portion of the banking history. And then we're going to cover these next sections as we continue on with the banking sector of this currency series. But we needed to go into this so, as I stated, our people could understand what what this whole concept of money is, the history of it, the relevance of it, and now what is our participation in it, and how do we take what we know and position ourselves with that knowledge, that detailed knowledge that we do have. And like I said, you get these fundamentals here. You get the fundamental information here. I'm pretty sure there's a lot more that we can cover that we haven't even touched on now. But I know that we're at least touching on the fundamental basics that you pretty much should be able to find anywhere. And it's like, like I mentioned earlier, in the 2 + 2 4 = 4 kind of manner, where you should be on the same page. Everyone should be technically given the same information, even if it's in their own way. It should be the same information being rendered, even if it's stylized or customized according to whatever group or brand of people that you're getting it from. It still should be given the same answer. So understanding that, we gonna bring this week's khutbah, this week's sermon to a close, and we're gonna jump into our next segment here, which is current events. So with that, welcome to Branch Temple number 24 of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We are a global branch temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America, where we teach our people their nationality and their divine creed. Come join us. Come link yourself with the family of nations here every Friday on Telegram now, and share the link. Get the link out to people. Have them join the room here on Telegram, and we're gonna keep it rocking and rolling. I'm definitely working on some things for us to get into for this Patreon that we do have. First thing first, I do want to discuss the Patreon, because that is one of the ways that we will be bringing in the financing that we need to grow as a temple, as a congregation, as a community, and really push things forward. Now, having access to a a a a a specific form of knowledge that most people don't have access to has really put us in a blessed spot. So that allow us to really get the head start on doing the things that we actually just read about, participating in investments, and moving as a actual family, and structuring a family estate that can be passed down from generation to generation. But it definitely takes a team. It definitely takes not just the team, but family. It takes the family operating as a team. So that can be done. We do have the position, and we do have the structure. We also have the Bitcoin smart contracts. Like I said, we have jobs that we're offering. These are commission-based jobs starting out. You have the opportunity to participate in the equity that we have, but the participation does cost. There is a cost to that part if you want to participate in the equity of the deals. But there's the commission side, where you could actually close a deal and then use the proceeds from the deal that you close, and the portion that's allocated towards you to actually participate in the equity side, if you would like. Because this is something, like I said, that we making sure that we are providing not just to ourselves, but to our divine and national movement, to where we have something that's viable for ourselves and our people. And so providing commissionary-based jobs, at least starting out with that, and then we'll eventually be venturing off into other things that will definitely come up, um, as we continue to grow and get better, and just provide more jobs for people, uh, so that way they could be of service to their community, and just help us grow as a temple, as a community, as a divine and national movement, and like I say, leave things for the next generation to pick up and carry on, especially like we just read. So with that, we got other good news. We are up for we're eligible to reapply again for YouTube, so we will be doing that over this weekend. So you want to make sure send your wishes, your lucks, your prayers, and all that good stuff up, so that way we can come through with the big W for this time around when we apply for monetization for YouTube. Uh, like I mentioned the Patreon thing already, so that's actually how you participate in the offering that we have is the Patreon. Everything is really already there on on our Patreon that we have, and then we will be moving into getting the temple website back up and running. I've just been trying to go over what type of branding we want to have. As far as that, do we want to keep the same temple website that we have and the same branding, or really come up with something new? I'm leaning towards more of keeping the same branding, but I got to see how things are going to go with the website and getting that back up and running. And we will also be making sure that we will be getting we'll be making sure we'll be getting the getting the emails and things like that together for the temple. And as I mentioned earlier, getting getting this Patreon thing together, and just creating content as well. How we're going to rebrand everything as far as the website, and just getting everything back up and running on that end of things. We definitely we do have the shell of the website. It's just we don't have the public domain for the website. So the website is still accessible from the shell of the website, but we want our people going to a professional website that they can get on and look around things. So we're gonna jump into more the news side of the current events, and updates as far as that. One thing I did come across this week was that Elon Musk has had his first patient confirmed for the neuron link thing and the brain thing. Uh, I put a link in the private chambers with me and Dr. Idris and Brother Rahim earlier. Um, I might as well share with the temple, but I did see that that is something that's happening, and
Yeah, I saw
I
that
definitely
headline.
you seen the headline. I definitely want to just hear some feedback as that comes about, not just from here, but just people uh, throughout the internet, throughout the world, see what they think about that incident, and just see how it really plays out, how things are going to play out. Now, as far as the political arena of things, a lot of things are kind of going back and forth with the whole Trump situation. Trump is so called in all this big trouble, and then on the opposite end, he's not. And things are leaning toward his favor. And you always have that push and pull and rug tug with politics. So like I said, it's gonna get crazy. The political race and all that coming up with this year, this year's coming election. So we also have the ETF ETP that just been approved for Bitcoin. There's some issues on the Ethereum side of things, which is not unexpected, but we definitely know why they're pushing for the ETF and the ETP, electronic traded products, things like that. Um, and what our participation can be within them, how we can work within them, or even potentially offer them to clients. We do want to invest here as a temple, but we'll be doing it through our family office if we do any type of investment. So donations can be given. We will be pushing towards that as well because as we're reading, the temple is the bank. So this is its own financial entity and banking structure as well. And we're not taxed, where we have the tax exemption. We have a particular type of tax structure. So, we can have a conversation with the members of the congregation. But we also will be working on the marketing uh, right along with the YouTube automation and just presenting things that we can do to keep growing as a community. Because once I pretty much got it down packed with monetizing the 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 temple and what I'm branding from me as the Grand Sheik, we start creating more pages and expanding from there. I can bring people in eventually. We can start hiring people to actually create the content. And I'd rather hire the people that are in the community, that are in the temple, that are participating. And eventually we even, like I said last week, we start doing more video focused, video based services. I really want to kind of get creative with those. I do like the way that we have it structured now with just the voice portion. So we kind of got to work out some ideas with that on how we can do that. The master teacher did a lot of creative things on his end in the past. So I definitely want to be able to use some of those techniques and tools and how we go about doing the videos for us because it is a teaching situation, and you will get a lot of people to come in, even more people to come in from the visual aspect of things because they get to actually see what we're talking about and not just hear us talking about it. Some people probably are more visual based learners. You got people that are more audio based learners who has been our main focus for right now, and then you have those that are visual and then mechanical. So we definitely will be pushing toward that as well. Now I'm not sure if you got anything you want to add, brother Jonathan, but if not, we'll
Yeah,
keep
yeah.
on with.
I got a couple things. I was having communications with my father about that Elon Musk, the whole idea of, neural implants over like telomerase and stem cell research. It's kind of like two different fields that are kind of in the same vein um, of being as a solution for whether it's cancer or impairments like visual impairments or things like that. Being able to regrow different organs versus fixing it with a mechanical chip. And been a little bit more leaning towards the stem cell side, if, but even that seems like it's a little bit, playing God, which is pretty much what people are doing with technology in and of itself. If you got a smartphone, that's kind of, you're already, there's a line that was crossed a long time ago, which is like a whole communication, neither here nor there right now. Food for thought, I guess. Um, so yeah, I mean, that like people being able to live longer because of scientific advancements, or using technology. In my view, the whole Neuralink is a degrading of humanity's capability. But then you start getting into the capabilities that I don't know if a lot of people are aware of, or it's been segregated out into like wordings like lucid dreaming. It's kind of partitioned out into a niche or a branch, but it doesn't really expound on the depth of the human biological machine, which I don't like the word machine so much when you talk about peoples, because you're kind of in many ways takes away from what love is. And so then that defines love, and so it gets really complicated real quick. I'm having a hard time communicating about it in and of itself right now.
Nah, no
um,
worries.
but yeah, that's kind of like definitely been, in my heart and mind. That's some major changes, and I think it was about a decade ago. I had a buddy kind of show me this game or something, like the future of life, and it was just kind of like this organism or something that just filled up the screen and then crashed. And I was like, that
Mhm.
kind of was like a spark for me to be like, well, that's not what I'm here for. That sounds like it's happened multiple times. There's nothing new under the sun. I'm here to do something new. So something more than that. That's like, that seems like very like a monster just like growing on itself, and then you know you know
It's
uh,
there.
peeling over and dying. And it's like, no, we're more than that. It's like there's more to this. And I feel like with a good a path of heart, and with God, all things are possible. It's like though there's a level of being wondrous, having a wondrous perception to the mysteries as things happen. And I've definitely borne witness to a lot of things that just like, I can't believe I got through that. If it wasn't for some type of divine guidance, it's like, I don't know how I got through that. It's like, but not getting stuck there, and keeping on. So um yeah, just doing my best to be present, and kind of keep up with the times, and adapt. I've been looking at the whole artificial intelligence, is starting to make waves. A lot of people are putting their attention towards that, I think, on the creative level. And there's a lot of artists who I think are starting to feel the impact of that, where they've spent decades of their life learning how to do, um, whether it's web design, or like graphic engineering, or there's a lot of stuff that people have put a lot of hours into learning how to do things on a manual level, that is just you know these new people are coming in and pushing clicks of buttons and doing stuff that they're not even able to do after all that years of work. And it's just like almost brainless. It can become brainless real quick. And then it also can become oversaturated with that kind of people being so enthralled in that newness that it might lose track of reality. It very much can. I think people are, I think there's been a bunch of news about how it might influence elections, and people might doing stuff, and people won't know reality from fiction, because they're thinking that that's um a real entity, that's like that's Trump or that's Biden speaking, and really it's just AI generated stuff going on. So I think YouTube and all these different big companies are doing their best to create policies, and work around that. And if people are caught doing that, they'll get banned or whatever. So I mean, I think that's good that there's some level of caution, on the developer and the people who maintain these sites for people to upload to, about it, but it is still very much an unknown territory that we're heading into, and yeah, true piece.
True piece. I'm appreciative of that piece right there, because it definitely does paint the environment, the political environment. It's, like I've been saying, it's going to be a crazy one, and AI definitely does bring a twist to everything that's happening, especially over the period since the last election and all those things that happened, and just the information that came about with the whole Russia and the collusion with Trump, and you know people talking about clones and all these different things that just happened, that happened during that time. Even during the the presidency run of Trump, where you have video clips of Trump saying one thing, then you have him saying clips of him saying the opposite. And same thing kind of happened with Obama, but not as much as it happened with Trump. And now when you take account to how much AI is out there, and what could be done, what could be produced, people could basically generate whole scripts, using the voice of Biden or using the voice of Trump, and not even realizing that's like you said, an AI generated thing, or product, and people have no clue what to believe about the elected leadership. A lot of the pushback on Trump, especially when it comes to the whole January issue. I have my own opinions about that. Where you know well, I don't actually think he incited those riots and things like that they're trying to put on him. I actually think it's the actual Democrats. Well, it's documentation that shows that the Democrats were actually the ones to do it. So you have all this, political, war going on, and both sides are being made to look like the bad guy. And it's like I said, it's gonna get crazy. But when you add the AI portion to it, man, it makes it even even wild.
Yeah, I think that people should have an awareness, and if there is that kind of the rulings, if there's rules based on, like, let's say YouTube has rules saying you can't be posting these types of videos because of this and this, I think that'll help, tame the forest that, or the kudzu that it would be, or it could become, and keep things under kind of a level of, where people respect the software, respect each other with it. I played these online video games with people, and you do cheats in some of those games, they're gonna kill off your character, and you're not allowed to join the game again. And, if you want to do something like that where you actually enjoy the game and participate with people, and then you do something stupid like that, and then you can't play with the people no more because you basically killed yourself off. And so I think
Right.
that's kind of like, I think that a way to kind of keep things kind of a little bit, under control. And I do like some of the software. I'm like learning, like only in the last like week myself, I've been kind of like looking at some of these capabilities. Like just today, I found out there's this new software coming out where it's like live streaming, but it's like the whole kind of like avatar kind of based real time transposing, what you look like into these, avatar, kind of bodies. So I think that'd be kind of cool as like going into the future, instead of it just being, boring, let's say instead of it being communication through the audio here, but it goes into video stuff. I think it'd be cool to have that kind of level of, fun with it, being in your, like, I'd be in my room with different types of um, environment that would be set up by like artistic design, and that would be, able to be linked up like a Zoom call, and you kind of see people communicating genuinely, but there's a level of creativity behind it. I think that'd be really cool, you know. So I don't know.
I'm definitely for it. I've been using a lot of the AI platforms to create videos and just do different things. Play around with some of the stuff that that's being presented. But I definitely do appreciate it, and I do also understand your concern as far as it being a thing of dependency, and how we can get caught up, through those traps, just depending on it, especially for brain functioning and um, just organic growth, the organic growth of things, and that can be a problem. But you always have your pros and your cons that come with things. Now, kind of camelbacking toward the whole neuron link thing. I do want to acknowledge the fact that on the video, one of the videos that I did watch about it, uh, even today, it was stating how some of the cases to where how they'll be using it will be more so for people that are handicapped and things like that. Which I do see a user case for that, but of course, like everybody else, has that thought in the back of their mind, or some in the front of their mind, that AI could be used against us. It could be turned into a killing machine against humanity and society. And so we do have that. We don't want to make it a whole conspiracy theory thing, but it does have that texture that comes with that. So I just wanted to at least acknowledge that, for those that will be listening, and maybe pondering on that as well. So
I think
I
the oh, excuse me.
I go ahead, Chupi.
One last thing about that. I just that CRISPR machine. People signed up for that genome. Like you plug in a bunch of different values to be able to create some type of injection that you can inject in yourself. And I think it was like you could get it online, and there was a bunch of people that signed up for that. Being kind of pioneers in that field, and were basically trying to change their genetic code, and people were willing to do that. So I mean, in many ways, if people want to take that risk and do certain things, I mean, yeah, it's like people do stuff, and I'm not here to like fully say, that's wrong, but it might hurt you in the long run.
Right, that's it's their choice. We all given a disclaimer and beware, caveat, warning. Um, it's just by nature that we should do so, being that we are a spiritual group of people. Just one last thing before we move into our weekly reading of El's Holy Quran, and then into our holy instructions for tonight. Um, I do want to state that the content that we'll be creating on YouTube, it can get diverse. So, as we continue to do our weekly holy day meetings and temple services, we want people to get involved. You know, uh, whether it's video ideas, topics, things like that. Right now, what you find on the channel, that's branded through me, as the Grand Sheik and the spiritual guide, you pretty much find lectures from different speakers all over the world, um, and just all different types of lectures, whether it's more philosophical based, more spiritual based. You have religious sermons on there as well from other renowned speakers, motivational lectures. We even bringing in We even bringing in more, more scholastic lectures as well. We bringing in a lot of that soon here too as well. But if you guys have any ideas, on what we should be presenting through the channel, we definitely will be doing that. I definitely will be making videos about us Moorish people and just the getting into the sciences of Moorish teachings, different things like that, the history, and putting videos on the channel about that as well. So if you have any ideas you want to contribute, we can definitely come together, collaborate on that. And any of any of the content creators in the YouTube world, any people that's creating content in the YouTube world, or even on Rumble, whatever platform, feel free to reach out. We want to come together, do things, even if it's interviews and things like that. We're almost at 2,000 subscribers, and we're gonna keep pushing and making more, more videos, and that way we can get more subscribers. And working, we'll be helping those who need it work on their videos. So if you need help building up your channel, creating your videos, I can help you. I'm starting to get the hang of, creating a lot of these videos, and just, getting that understanding on, what works, what don't work, and, the thumbnails and all that good stuff, just getting a good grasp on it. So I can be of some type of help, some type of, service when it comes to that. And our people, I really think everyone should have some type of side gig, and really work in the content space. Even if you don't do, content, if content creation is really not your thing, we definitely do have other avenues that we can collaborate on. Working on different channel ideas that we can eventually branch off into, like I mentioned earlier. The family office also will have its own channel, so we have that available too as well. And we can do podcasts, things like that, especially with those that will be taking up the opportunity that we have to work, within the temple, work with the family office. Right now, like I mentioned earlier, we have an offering, uh, a position offering for commission, that's commission based only, and we were looking for sales associates right now at the moment that could help us sell the Bitcoin smart contract tokens that we have and raise capital, so that way we could go make investments, and just continue to grow the community, take care of the marketing and grow the company, and take care of the things that need to be done company wise, and growth wise. It is a day to day. We do connect day to day. We do have orientation, things like that. Jonathan is actually one of the sales associates. He's on with us. He's getting on board with us. Is It's a 1099 job, so you're an independent contractor. You're not necessarily an employee. You still work for yourself. You're still, self-employed. You still work, for yourself at the end of the day. But you have the opportunity to participate in growing something that not only is beneficial for yourself, but eventually your family. Build, build a financial legacy for you and your family. So with that, we're gonna jump into our weekly reading of El's Holy Quran, and dive in. I still haven't got where we left off at. I still haven't got that part. Uh, gotta I gotta really look into where we left off, because I don't want to just be here scrolling. I was meaning to do it yesterday before we came on live, so that way I could know. where we're at. Even I still even still have to record those sermons that we did after 74 so I can put them on YouTube. Uh haven't had much opportunity to do so. I did, but then we get distracted.
I couldn't even
But
figure out how to share the link for the Telegram here. I don't know if there's a button for that.
yeah, it actually is. If you see them three little dots at the top right corner, and then it says share invite link. Yeah, you should see if you go to your Telegram where we at on the video chat, you should see three little dots in the right hand corner and click those three little dots. It should say share invite link. You should see the share invite link.
Yeah, I don't see it on my phone. I don't know if it might be on the laptop. I'll have to look next time.
The
Um,
invite link actually in the chat. If you just go to the chat, you can copy it from there too.
yeah, I'll do that. I should have done that. Yeah, okay. Another real quick, I saw that Dr. Idris, he's got his last statement that he put on there. I don't know if that's something that, I've been going through some, rough patches too. So it's like that's something that like I know that focusing in on the peoples out here and getting the right peoples involved in the sense of, people making a choice for themselves and seeing the choices that have already been made by a lot of people over the years. I pray things line up um, for the best. True
Yep.
peace.
Can you hear me? True peace.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why I mentioned I suggest that all the people around me get into content creation. Even if you're not a content creator, it's really not like a hard thing to do because if you keep it simple, create a viable product that people could tune into. I mean, you have a source of income right there. There's plenty of people that's creating videos and blogs, and they're actually creating something commercial that people could tune into, and they're benefiting from it, and barely put any money, into marketing anything like that. It pops off, it goes viral or it gains a lot of traction. So I would suggest you guys do that on the side, especially those, not just to the people in the temple, but even people that are outside the temple that are having hard times. Get on YouTube, man. There's a lot of different things that you can do, and look into to where you can earn funding, and other income streams, without that much effort. And these are legit things, and it's not just a whole bunch of people making videos about it all over the place. I would suggest you guys get into that and talk to me outside of this. That way I could kind of help navigate you all through some things about credit and stuff like that. How you can help yourself. Even with whatever you do have now, or as I mentioned, we have the commission based position. You can take that up and work with me during the week, talk with me during the week. You have a lot of resource information that's in our virtual office, training material, things like that you have access to, where to go, what the, things to set up, who
It's
to network
awesome.
with.
So
You,
awesome.
know, you see what
Looking
I'm
at
saying?
so many great links, so much resource. I appreciate that whole Trello setup. It's amazing. Yeah, it's great. And that's pretty much I'm set up to start doing stuff this tomorrow, tonight even. I've been working on getting on that point, so that I can actually move forward and have those, even if it's just like I have a fundraiser for an album, for 50K for my spotfund.com, and that helps me out. It helps out that website. People donate. It's not like they're expecting any type of percentage. If you want to donate to that company, you can donate, or you don't have to. And it's just basically a
Right.
great resource. So there's a lot of really good stuff out here that wasn't available a decade ago, and I think um, like I don't have anything wrong with paying taxes. I think that if taxes are able to help out, fill up those potholes, that's fine with me. You know what I mean? I had extra cash, to do stuff in my local community and throw it around. Buy a highway. That's cool too.
You know, main people that have issues with taxes are the more so-called rich or wealthy people. Not necessarily even the wealthy, but the rich people. Those are the ones that have issues with it. Because let's say you made $50 million, right? Or let's say $1 million. That $1 million immediately get cut in half. You see what I'm saying? Or that 50 million gets cut in half. Now you owe half to the government, almost, mainly half of that 50 million, and now you only left with 25 million, and you may got bills up to, 26 million. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. Those $250,000 club memberships and all that. Yep, yep.
You know what I'm saying? So and some people, they have memberships that's like 50,000, 100,000, things like that. Our membership to participate in the equity, that's 5,000. So you have those type of things, that, are really, a kick in the foot for them. So, we have strategies, you know, that we offer in the family office, some strategies that they can use to move. We consultate about that. But, everybody don't have access to, those type of strategies. Now the wealthy do, but for the people without cash flow and things like that, taxes, it shouldn't really be a problem too much, because if you don't make no money, they're not charging you taxes. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but if you're making money, they definitely, you know, they on your butt, they on your heels. But like I was saying, for those that are having, some type of hardship, financial trouble, whatever it may be, you do have that opportunity to work with us in the temple, uh, or even the family office, better yet. And we have the commission-based position right now. We do have other positions, but we're not opening them up until we solidify the sales associate team and sales team. And then we'll be moving into opening up the other positions that we do have. Uh, but that position is open. You have a lot of resources that we have to give access to, but not just that, the training and the different speakers that you might not be used to listening to, different, just different ways of thinking that you might not be used to, especially when it comes to getting out and making sales. So if some, doing something outside and door to door sales is something you're cool with, cool. But, right now, uh, you have that opportunity. You get to network with people in the crypto space, people in the financial space, especially people in the crypto space, and utilize that. That's pretty much, as simple as that. You have a lot of different platforms that you can use to go and network with people that's in crypto and working on crypto projects. And we have marketing material for you and things like that that you can utilize, even scripts, emails, and whether you want to target the everyday person on Twitter, and connect with them, or you're looking to expand the skills that you have, expertise that you have as a salesperson, and you gained all these years of banking experience and things like that. You can utilize that as well, and target those people that's into private equity, venture capital, etc. That's looking to pivot into the Bitcoin space and take a deep dive into Bitcoin smart contracts. But with that,
What
like I
we
said,
next? Oh,
go ahead.
pardon the body. Next session, next Friday, for these banking sessions. would be able to go a little bit into bonds and how that relates to the smart contracts and whatnot, and how that would be maybe like a transitionary capability for being able to help out, some of the bond markets and how that's reflected on our environment, the histories and all that.
Yeah, we definitely can do that. Because we're going into the history of banking. So we definitely gonna touch on the history portion, but we can, we can have some sidebars and we can touch on that. I'll make sure to bring that up.
Cool.
And
Thank you. Thank you.
provide some source material for that next week. I'll definitely do that. So let me see. I'm trying to see where we left off at here. I know we was well into like chapter 40, something like that. Chapter 40, chapter 50, 40. I know he's in that 50-40 range. I do remember that from where we left off at. But yeah, we can do that. We definitely can do that. I'll make sure we can bring that up and fit that in to next week's sermon. And that's what I mean by just you know bringing ideas to the table, as well, things that you guys want to discuss. So we're gonna jump into El's Holy Qur'an for this week. I'm trying to see exactly where we left off at here. Okay, yeah, we was on chapter 39. That's exactly where we was at. We was on chapter 39. Okay, and we stopped on one of these sections here. So I'm not sure if we read this already, but I'm gonna start us right here. I'm gonna start us right here on this section. We're on chapter 39. Pharaoh's persecution of the Israelites, and that is ayat 127 of Surah 39, and it reads, and the rulers, chief council of the Enosites of Pharaoh, Ramesses II, said, would you leave Moshe and his kindred to cause mischief in Al-Ard, the planet Tiamat, Earth, meaning spread his teachings, and forsake you and your sources, Allah's? Allah-Hataka, he said, we will kill Abna Ahum, all their sons, and spare their Enosite women, and we will be overpowering over them, meaning the Israelites. Moshe said to his kindred, the Jacobites and Israelites, seek help in the law and have patience, for surely the planet Earth belongs to the source, Allah. He not we, bestows it for an inheritance to whom he pleases of his slaves, and the end is for those who tremble at the mention. They, the Israelites, said, we were persecuted before you. Moshe came to us, the Israelites, and after you, Moshe, have come, he, Moshe, said, perhaps your Rab will destroy your enemy, and you will lafahakum, appoint you Khalifa, successors left behind in the planet Earth, make you its ruler, so he will see how you will work or behave. This next section is called Pharaoh's descendants persecuted, plagues invade Egypt, Israelites save. Starting out at ayat 130, it states, and indeed we not he, the Elohim Anunnaki, took the Pharaoh, Ramesses II, descendants, by punishing them by droughts and diminution of fruits, famine. Perhaps they will remember their punishment. So when the good came to them, meaning Pharaoh and his rulers, the council of elders, they said, "This is for us." But when they are afflicted with disagreeableness, they would blame it on Moshe and those with him, his followers. Surely their misfortune are in the possession of the source, Allah, but most of them do not know. And they, Pharaoh, Pharaoh and the council of elders said, "Whatever sign you, Moshe, bring to charm us with, we still won't have faith by way of it." So we, the Elohim Anunnaki, sent upon them, Pharaoh and his Enosites, the ancient Kemites, which is a mystical clan, who are the ancient Egyptians, a flood and the locusts and the lice and the frogs and the blood. Their water turned to blood, clearly explained signs. So they were big chested, pouting with pride, and they were a kindred committing crimes. And when the plague fell upon them, Pharaoh and his Enosites, they said, "O Moshe, Tutmos the first, call upon your Rob for us, with whom made a covenant with you. If you remove the plague from us, we will have faith in you. We will send the Bani, Israel with you." So when we, the Elohim Anunnaki, removed the plague from them, Pharaoh and his Enosites, Misri, and the ancient Kemites, Egyptians, mystical clan, to give them a term which they must reach, to do what they had promised. They temporarily broke it, the promise. So we, the Elohim Anunnaki, took retribution against revenge on them, the Pharaoh and his messengers, the council of elders, by drowning them in Al Yam, the Reed Sea, because they denied our, not my signs, and they were negligent about it. And we not my, the Elohim, bestowed upon the weak kindred, the Israelites or Jacobites, the inheritance of the planet Earth, of the Masharik, Eastern, and Magharabiah, its western parts, which we, the Elohim Anunnaki, have blessed it into it, and the good words of your rod came to pass on the children of Israel or Jacob, because they were patient, and we, the Anunnaki, destroyed what Pharaoh or Ramesses II and his kindred, the ancient Kemites, Egyptians, a mystical clan, had made, and what was Yah Rashun constructed or built. And we, the Elohim Anunnaki, let the children of Israel or Jacob pass over the part of the waters, the Reed Sea. Then they came upon a kindred who were devoted to their Asnam, idols. They, the children of Israel, said, "O Moshe, make for us a Allah, deity, Elahan, a source, as they have Allahatun, Allahs, deities, sources." He, Moshe, said, "Surely you, the Israelites or Jacobites, are an ignorant kindred. Surely they, the associates, will be destroyed for their falsehood, and their actions are in vain." He, Moshe, said, "Shall I seek for you, the children of Jacob, Israel, and Allah, Ilaha, source, other than the source, Allah, while he prefers you, the Israelites, over the known worlds? And when we, the Elohim Anunnaki, delivered you from the descendants of the nation of Pharaoh, the Egyptians, who treat you with a wicked punishment, they kill your sons and spare your Ennosite women, and in that is a trial for you from your Azim, supreme Rob or sustainer." So this next section is called Moshe giving the law and his request to see the source. All right, so let me see how much we got left. We got a lot more left for chapter 39. Chapter 39 is a long chapter. It is definitely a long chapter. That's why we stressed it out. That's why we stressed it out. I'm gonna double check and make sure that we didn't finish this chapter. Because some telling me I think we did finish the chapter. So I'm gonna stop right there. Because I do remember now. I do remember going into chapter 41. So we're gonna double check, but just just getting that reminder itself is enough. You know, just having that reminder itself is enough. We are supposed to be reading into the Quran itself. The prophet told us not to throw away the Bibles, throw away the Quran, throw away our holy books, because these creeds of other people have been revealed. But we honor all true and divine prophets. So, you know, not just the fact that the revelations will reveal the the iniquities against us as a people, you know, the atrocities that's been done against us as a people. You know, this scripture that we have access to pretty much now, and you know, all these different variations of it and breakdowns, and you know, all this sectism that came up out of it. You know, we have access to the ancient mindset of the sages and the wisdom of the sages through the prophet, you know, bringing us that reminder, and cantonized version of Islam, you know, in an American way for us of America to understand. And you have to kind of put some respect on that, because as I've mentioned here plenty of times, the Quran was made for the Quraysh tribe, as we read in the Quran itself. The Quran was made for the specifically the Quraysh tribe, and it's reminding them of the jurisdiction, the divine connection with nature, and the divine intelligences of nature, and these advanced ethereal beings, and its connection with them. Not just some spooks, you know, etc, and all that good stuff, but advanced ethereal beings of nature itself. And can we communicate with these vast intelligences? Yes, we can. You have different types of writing, different forms of writing, and you could tap into that wahi, divine inspiration. Not just you being influenced by, you know, Pablo off the block, but being influenced by the ethereal beings moving and working on behalf of divine creation, divine nature itself, organic nature itself. Now, are we mixed with things? Yeah, we're mixed with things. But each and every one of us have a portion of that organic lifeblood moving through us. We have access to that higher intelligence. So with that, I will be making sure that we are on the right track with what we're reading with El's Holy Quran, but we will be moving into our holy instructions for this week, which I'm gonna pin to our link on Telegram here. Make sure this is linked up. So now we can have that pinned to the top of the room. We can dive on into our holy instructions. So every week we discuss civic education. We know this is the study of the theoretical, political, and practical aspects of citizenship, as well as its rights and its duties. We even did a mini series on civics that you guys will be able to check out here soon enough, that we had on Clubhouse. We made sure we did a mini series on Clubhouse, and you guys have access to that. Then we also went over our civic virtues, which is the cultivation of habits, which is important for the success of the community. We discussed that in many different ways here, especially paying attention to the divine powers and forces of nature, being in tune and things like that, as well as our civic engagement, which is the process we take collective action together as a people to address issues that are of public concern to us as a people, which we pretty much do here every week. We come together to discuss current events and really discuss things that are happening throughout the world. So, and also give you updates on what's going on with us as a temple body and what needs to be done. So we do discuss that here every week. So we definitely need your help. We are, we say that in many different ways. We're not begging. We're gonna get the work done, but we do need the help. We do need people to come in. We do need you to reach out to people, share the link to people. Be a better version of yourself. Be a greater you. You don't know that until you start getting outside the territory now that you're comfortable with. Connecting with people you thought you wouldn't be able to communicate with. All it takes is that right person to link up with to help take you to the next level that you're trying to go into. So with that, we're gonna jump right into the holy instructions. As you all know, Friday is the holy day, or you who know, when the call is proclaimed to supplication on Friday, the day of assembly. Hasten earnestly to the remembrance of the Heavenly Father and Divine Mother, and leave all business and traffic that is best for you if you but knew. And when prayer is finished, then may ye disperse through the land and seek the bounty of God, and celebrate the praises of God of 10, and without stint, that ye may prosper. All chaplaincy, temple services, and meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, true peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God of love. For that cause, Friday is our holy day for all Muslims and peacemakers all over the world. This is according to Act 2 of the Divine Constitution and bylaws by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, which states all temples and subordinate temples are to conduct holy day service every Friday, starting promptly at their respective time and ending promptly at their respective time. All civilians, patrons, denizens, prospects, and ministers are expected to attend the temple for the Friday Holy Day temple service and meeting. On Fridays, the Moorish American, Moorish Asian, and Moorish African Muslim and peacemakers all come together to supplicate and to illustrate that which Allah has blessed them with. The temple services are open according to divine love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. At no time will templars, adepts, ministers, patrons, or outside congregational guests be allowed to disrupt the holy day service, nor will civilians be admitted under the influence of alcohol or any severe intoxicant. All templars, adepts, and civilians attending the holy day service must have their heads covered with either a turban, fez, or kufi, or spiritual covering. Baseball caps should not be worn in the temple or during temple service. The Sunday school temple service and meeting is mandatory, and all Moorish national templists and temple denizens must promptly attend the temple service and send their children to the Sunday school gathering. The teacher must conform himself and herself to the temple 101 questionnaire and let every civilian man, woman, and child exercise his or her five senses who is able to do so because out from your Sunday school comes the guiders of the nation and now the entire global village. According to Act 5 of the additional laws by the Prophet Noble, every subordinate temple should have 2 Sunday school gatherings held. The first meeting should be held 1 to 2 hours before the adult service. Children's Sunday school should be conducted by a director of the Children's Sunday school and programs. The Sunday school gathering is designed to assist the temple in learning the temple one-on-one questionnaires and developing an understanding of just what these holy keys mean and how they are to be applied to our everyday lives. The divine constitution and bylaws, along with the Moorish prayer, the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic nation, El's Holy Injiyl, El's Holy Qur'aan, and the civic editions or lessons of the Holy Temple of Moorish Science are also subjects of major concern for the apprentice who is trying to complete his or her mandatory requirements for pronouncing their temple civilianship and global nationality. All lessons for the adult Sunday school gathering must be prepared by a Grand Sheik, a divine minister, or an assistant Grand Sheik. Lessons called by us novice editions may be submitted to the apprentice for completion and returned to the temple. Once the lessons are completed and graded, they must be placed in the active members temple district file. The Sunday school temple service and meeting is a wonderful opportunity to study the liturgy teachings of the prophet. No civilian is to become disruptive during the Sunday meeting. All templars must bring paper and pen to the temple service and meeting, along with the basic temple literature and assignments. No templars or patron is to eat food or other snacks during the temple service or meeting, but water is permitted. All templars must attend their Sunday temple service and meeting as diligently as they attend their holy day temple service and meeting. Both were called out for by the Prophet Zabuwr and is required as a matter of temple law. According to the Divine Constitution, Act 7 in part, all templars must promptly attend their temple services and meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and now also Moorish Science Temple of Africa, and Moorish Science Temple of Asia, and adjoining world islands on behalf of all indigenous peoples. For membership, any heads of temple of all temple jurisdictions are not to charge for naturalization or to overcharge for cards, buttons, or anything issued by and through the prophet. Those who contribute to any of the proceedings are not Moors, civilians, or patrons, but robbers. Temple nationality and membership in the Holy Temple's vast estate, what we call a public beneficiary trust, sisters and brothers, kin and kinfolk, is free, not only here, but all over the world. All kin and kinfolk desiring to become a civilian of a subordinate temple must follow these instructions from the temple secretary and acquire the application for naturalization found here on holytemples.org. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Take some real quick. So, continuing, it says the secretary of the temple jurisdiction will help all newcomers by explaining the naturalization affidavit and application for membership in the temple's vast estate, or what we call a public beneficiary trust, to the new prospective civilian of the temple's vast estate, or what, like I said, what we call a public beneficiary trust, and arranging for him or her to be consulted by the royal council of said temple or subordinate temple. The royal chairman or woman will set the date for the new temple prospect to be interviewed by the royal council. The new temple court civilian, upon completion of the royal council's consultation at the newcomers gathering, Sunday school gathering on Sunday, the new Templars will proclaim their temple nationality at the next upcoming Holy Day temple gathering. After the new civilian prospect proclaims his or her nationality, they will be given mandatory requirements necessary to earn their free national name and royal title of nobility as a true American royal. These requirements are as follows, and in accordance with Chapter 47 of the Moorish Circle 7 Holy Quran, called Egypt, the capital dominion of the Empire of Africa. Chapter 5 of the Moorish Quran, called the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation. The Moorish prayer, including the 101 Quran questions for Moorish Americans, Asians, and Africans. The Divine Constitution and bylaws, the additional laws, and the precepts, statutes, ordinances from El's Holy Torah, El's Holy Injiyl, El's Holy Qur'aan, the Holy Tabernacle Family Guide, and also the Holy Tablets through our Civic 101 course in the Global Interdependent School District and St. Halls of Learning, which is called University by us of the Holy Temples of our Science, for everyone in the global village. Once a new civilian of templates has learned these additions or lessons verbatim to the best of their ability, he or she will be interviewed by the temple's royal council as the chaplaincy to determine if the new civilian is qualified to represent himself or herself as a faithful Moorish American, Moorish African, and Moorish Asian, Muslim, any indigenous peacemaker. Communicated to the instructions and communicated to the wise for thine own improvement. Once the new civilian of templates has cleared the mandatory requirements with the royal council, he or she will be advised by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister of said subordinate temple. All right, so that pretty much sums up how you get involved with the Moorish Science Temple of America, our 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 ceremony, and next we're gonna get into the Shahada, the actual ceremony portion, kind of give you insight on that. But claiming your nationality is a free thing. Getting your car, your button, and all that good stuff is a free thing. There's plenty of websites where you can acquire these things as far as the regalia and stuff that you need. But proclaiming your nationality, you need to be a part of a temple. You need to have a temple that vouches for you, that can step up and represent you as a legal counsel. These are the things that people are trying to do that they have no understanding of doing. So, as I express every week, please let it be known when you run into these people from the patriot movement, from the so-called secure party creditor movement, sovereign citizen movement, especially if you know they are melanated people, address the fact that we are Moors and they need to come home to their temples. The prophet say some of his best Moors are still in the church. Some of his best Moors are still in the church. And, you know, it takes someone that's adept in the theological studies to clear up the misconceptions that they get when they come out of Christianity. When they come out of Christianity. So ring the bell, let it be known to people, it's time to come home. So with that, we're gonna go into this next section. Our next section, which is called the Shahada, is about the Shahada, like I said, the ceremony. And it states the proclamation of nationality, procedure and pronunciation of one's nationality will be held on holy day for all civilians, denizens, templars, peacemakers, or Muslims, templars, peacemakers, or Muslims all over the world. During the ceremony, the new civilian and templars will be ordained in El Bay and given his or her royal peerage title of Campbell, Lady, Noble, Knight, Prince, or Princess by Grand Sheik and or Divine Minister. Also receive his or her nationality card and button from the Divine Minister of the Grand Major Temple upon conclusion of the nationality proclamation. The Grand Sheik and Divine Minister will have the civilian templars and temple prospects while he or she reads the authority of the Moorish Science Temple of America. It is by virtue of the Religious Operation Act document to be found in Herd's revised statutes that gives the Moorish Science Temple of America, Asia, and Africa the authority to restore the nationality and birthrights of lost Asiatics of Asia, Africa, all world islands, and give them the title to their vast state and their heritage. The great and divine minister is to read from the card and have the new national state. Allah is God, and Noble Ali, the prophet. And I am a Moorish American, African, or Asian, and we're islander. This is our Moorish clarification of faith for how to in our national civil leaders. The new civilian or temporary national name should then be added to the Temple's Book of Life as the role in the Civic 101 course and our complimentary World Civics Club. The nationality ceremony should be conducted by Grand Sheik and Divine Minister, or Divine Minister so designated by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister in his or her time of absence, and most notably by the Assistant Grand Sheik and Divine Minister. The nationality card application must be signed bearing the name and title of the Grand Sheik. or the minister who issued the application and card and the date of its issuance. The religious corporation is deemed to be a global interdependent school district, being incorporated by the Science Temple of America, Africa, and Asia as a religious trust and theocratic government established in 1928 on August 20th. This religious trust is the true global trusteeship system for the Holy Family of Nations, forming the global nucleus. All right, so you got links there. You got the link in the Telegram, so you guys got access to that. I definitely, I like the fact that we kind of do have our own space to ourselves here. But like I said, I do kind of miss Clubhouse. And I did like the app and the platform, but nonetheless, like I was saying, please tell people to come on home, bring it on home. There's plenty of room for growth. We also have our own school system online that we're going to be putting a lot of energy into as well. And that is kind of like the call to action to come into the World Temple. They're actually joining a school. You're in school. You're here to learn. You're here to be a part of a temple, which acts as also as a school. Not just, remember I said earlier, temples are also schools as well. And the fact
Real
that you
Sunday
wear your
school.
clothes is true. What you said, Noble?
Real Sunday school. Real Sunday school.
Right, that's right. Real Sunday school. Because you're actually a part of a school. And on Sundays, that's the day that you bring all the questions about civics and all these different things we want to discuss. You can have those real questions, and then we can go into to civics, contracts, the business about politics and all those things. That is exactly what Sunday is for. So people should be coming on Sunday, and you should be bringing boatloads. Bringing people by boatloads on Sundays. That's exactly what it's for. So when we come together and create marketable material, this is what we definitely want to do. So we're gonna jump into our mandatory literature, so we can go ahead and close out for this week. But please keep things that we discuss current events in open mind, and get involved. Come get involved. I want to give honors to my brother Jonathan. He's always here working and putting in that time with me, especially on Fridays. But you all that's listening, hearing my voice, whether you at YouTube, or you just joined this here on Telegram, or whatever it be, or you hearing some of the lectures that we do on Clubhouse. You got with that, and then you got here. And there's a lot of things that we got going on, and this is the day for the Moorish Temple of America. The temple, as suggests, we all start doing them through our houses, and we get houses with second floors on them, and we had a meeting on the second floor, as the prophet mentioned we should do in the oracle teachings. One of the things we advocate for, that was that's something that actually happened in the past. You went to someone's palace to actually have a meeting. You didn't meet the king in a commercial building or in the free market. So just bring to understanding. With that, we're gonna jump into this literature. We're gonna close it out for this week. Hope y'all are enjoying y'all Fridays, especially with your family. I'm going to do the rest of my week here. Y'all want to come on Sunday, just let me know in that, and we will be opening up for Sunday as well. We don't record on Sunday, but we definitely will be opening up video chat for people. And if you children, feel free to do so. That's what this space is for. I gotta make some to the school system, but that's exactly what the school is for. And you have people that reach out that want to use the school system and things like that. Feel free to do so. Get involved. We need teachers, we need staff, all that good stuff. And we're working our way toward that. We have a goal. We have the plan. We know what we're working toward. We have a project. We have a divinely inherited project, and it's divinely inspired. Why project? So let's happen. So I'm gonna bring us into this closing with our literature. We're gonna close it out with our literature from the prophet. The prophet wants us to read this in every temple meeting and temple service. The prophet says, I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical speeches while at work in the streets, with for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your card to Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your cause for your salvation. Fail to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, true peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Member or group of those who hold malicious feelings to the temple or the prophet or violate the covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Muslims will and must obey the laws laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they shut in their card button, cease wearing a turban and fast, and return to the state high the prophet found you. This is a holy movement founded by the prophet Zabuwr. If the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet therefore is sending out the divine to all more protecting that prophet at the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet, will of Allah, and then his people from their sinful ways. True peace, joy. All right, y'all. So understand, justice will catch up with you. And, that's just coming from the prophet. This is divine law. That's all the prophet was reiterating, divine law. That's all this is. It's being in alignment with that divine law. And this is why I say earlier, this is the strongest thing that you have standing on, because the when it comes to and how things play with nature, and you're standing on true law when it comes to public law, any other type of law itself. Because natural law is going to swing things in your favor when you do things. It's just guaranteed. So when you stand on your indigenous cultures and the ecclesiastical divine law, your tribal cultures, indigenous cultures, then you have the highest standard that that it can that you can stand on. Highest laws that there are. So we also go over this last mandatory message from the prophet that's to be proclaimed in every temple meeting and temple service. Islam. I'm glad to know that I have a few faithful boys among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There's a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim that I was on the general. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme they can to disqualify me, so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to there's two faithful Moors that attribute the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine to me in the movement will be removed. That is why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, your divine movement. I need finance and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that's facing the nation. All comes through jealousy because of my family nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without me, the prophet, being here. It's been proven by works, which I performed in the past years, for noble joy. The prophet has put in work. We putting in work now. There's a lot more I wish we've gotten done. to live, but it's all about law of growth. And that's one of the things I always lean on, is that particular law is the law of growth. And it takes time. We live in a world where everything is microwave, fast paced. So you don't want to get in that yourself, especially when it comes to the things that you're working on, developing, creating, and building towards. You want to respect and maintain the understanding of the law of growth. Especially when it comes to content creation. A lot of people want to go viral on their first piece of content. It don't happen that way. So this is one of those instructions in the Moorish people of America, and just for the contact, attention to those instructions, because when it comes to consistency, you'll realize uh can't get where you get if you're inconsistent. And that's why I say, also as well, that's why I said earlier, I love it. I love it that we only have 2 or 3 people here at a time, sometimes a couple. It's not that I want having 20, 50 people, or even 100 people in the space listening as we congregate, but at the same time, the shadows to people remain loyal and they're constantly here, they're constantly showing up. Because consistency is the power. The same power that you need to show here consistently is the same power that you need to put in your day-to-day work, whatever it is you're working on, whatever it is you're striving toward, and put that in here. Uh, Results show, especially if stay consistent through the struggle, through the hard 2 or 3 years. You're gonna look back and you go, "Hey, I did that," and where I'm at. So that we gonna close out with a prayer. Before we go, you wanna make any last contributions, Uncle John, before we tap out?
True peace. No, it's been good. Like I said, the work that you've done with the Trello and all the knowledge pieces and links are just like it's great. I mean, I see a lot of people being able to um, become enlightened through that information. Joining up with that, and eventually, the space, um, I think will be there for sure, where it'll be capable of maybe even better than Clubhouse, being able to organize communications and see who's, present and all that jazz. So yeah, the law of growth, that's awesome. I'm here for it.
Definitely, most definitely. You gotta keep the law of growth and the whole instructions for, inconsistency. Because when you consistent at something, you build momentum, you build power, and we definitely will be, we definitely will stay main consistent as best as we can, best as possible, and we continue to grow our virtual office that we have, uh, our school that we have, our financial ecosystem that we're developing, everything we're developing on behalf of this divine project that we have, uh, at our disposal. So with that, we're gonna close out with the prayer. I hope everyone enjoy their Friday, or whatever day it is that you listen to recording and sermon. And with that, y'all know how I go. 2 fingers up, 5 up, facing the east, feet at a 45-degree angle, standing up. Allah, the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through His holy prophet, Noble Jalil. Amen. All right, y'all. True peace. Well, I do
Teresa.
see y'all next week or this Sunday. Islam.